I was honored to participate in a collection of writings, which we have some here, called The Experience of God. Myself, Deepak Chopra, Marianne Williamson, Mother Teresa, the Dalai Lama, Louise Hay, Ram Dass, Bernie Siegel, Scott Peck, Joan Borysenko, and 30 others. People I'm honored to be in there. We all wrote about our direct experience, our direct conscious contact with God. The experience of God. There's 40 of us that wrote in there. And making conscious contact with God through this thing called inspiration. When I'm inspired, I never ever get concerned about being hungry. I never get tired when I'm inspired. When I'm writing, I can go away and write for day after day. Sleep an hour a day, 2 hours a day. Drink nothing but water. Don't feel hungry. The right people always seem to show up. I go to the mailbox and the thing that seemed to be missing before is always right there for me. The telephone rings, it'll be someone calling, and I wrote about some of that in Wisdom of the Ages. When I was stuck on something when I was away writing one of these essays, Deepak picked up the phone, and only 2 people in the whole world knew my phone number where I was in seclusion. It was my wife and my other wife, Deepak. And I told him that, and I wrote about it in there, and he gave me something in that talk that it just put, like, they say it in Sanskrit that when the student is ready, the teachers appear. What is the context in which you can move out of individual and group consciousness and into mystical consciousness or unity consciousness? It is only available, as far as I know, through this process called meditation. You can't do it any other way. And with meditation, the very opening essay in here was from Blaise Pascal and Pythagoras, 2 of the greatest scientists who ever walked among us. And Pascal in the 16th, 17th century said, all of man's troubles stem from his inability to sit quietly in a room alone. Most of us just don't know how to get quiet. And it is like, I tell people, don't learn to meditate or don't practice meditation because it will make you feel younger, which it will. It'll even make you look younger, which it will. Because it takes the stress right out of your skin, right out of your life. Don't learn to meditate and practice meditation on a daily basis because it will give you the equivalent of a night's rest in 20 minutes, which it will. But learn and practice meditation because it is the only way that you can transcend the duality of the physical plane. Jesus was known as a non-dual being. No right, wrong, beginnings, ends, male, female, none of that. Only the one. And in silence, silence is like zero. You cut it in half and you still have only zero. You can't divide silence. It's the oneness. Melville said God's one and only voice is silence.
And it's really just closing my eyes and creating like a pastel field. And my mind can create any color that I want, which is just so astounding. You think you need your eyes to create it, and you don't at all. And I create that field. In my mind, I put a barrier around that field, and I won't let anything into it. And any thought that tries to penetrate that barrier sort of bounces back. And it takes about 2 or 3 minutes to get yourself like totally relaxed. Now, I don't really believe that anybody can just not think at all. I think that's part of the trap. It's part of the human condition that thinking always goes on. Even thinking about not thinking is still thinking. But you don't have extraneous thoughts. You get like single-minded. And this is wonderful, wonderful training for anyone. And so it's like as you do that and you just won't let a thought in and you won't let a thought in and you won't let a thought in, you become very, very, very relaxed. And then you can create whatever you want. I create a light. It's like a white light, a spotlight way off in the distance in my mind. And I approach it. I just keep coming closer and closer and closer to it with this pastel field, keeping any thoughts from bombarding it. It's amazing how at the beginning, when you first start this, how it's hard to go 5 seconds. 5 seconds without having some kind of thought impingement. Boom, all of a sudden you catch yourself doing that. Then you get to 10 seconds, you get to 30 seconds, and before long, you can do a couple of minutes. And as I move and move towards the light, for many years, I was afraid of the light. I would get close to it, and I knew that if I went into it, that something was going to happen that I didn't know. And so I'd always sort of approach it, and then I'd come back. And then I allowed myself just to go through it. I just surrendered to it. I said, I can handle it. I created miracles in that space for myself. And in the world that I came back to when I left the meditation as well. I do that on a regular basis. The result, the peacefulness, the harmony, the serenity, the energy that you begin to get when you just take a few minutes a day, 10 or 15 minutes a day, put yourself into a sensory deprivation kind of atmosphere, a tub of water, under a tree, in a meadow, and just go into your mind